Well, hi there. It is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. It's 3:05 in the afternoon, just in case anybody's wondering. And Journal 320, T+379. It's been a bizarre day, bizarre morning. Originally, I was supposed to go into the City of Hope for a follow-up visit with my doc and lab work on Monday. I was called and told that we were going to do a medical visit, which meant I would have to get the lab work done probably remotely. It was an interesting bit of information because that meant going to a local lab, which is not a big deal. I've done that before. But it really got out of hand very quickly in the fact that some of the tests that were called out on the lab work, on the order for the lab work, weren't covered by any insurance and turned out to be insanely expensive. And the bottom line was that either I had the chance, the choice to pay for them, and we're talking about close to $1,000 for those tests, or to get in the car and drive to the City of Hope and have the lab work done. The other issue was that they wouldn't have been ready on time. A number of the specific tests that were going to cost so much wouldn't have been ready by Monday, no matter what they cost. I'm not going to whine about that while everybody's trying to figure out how to get COVID-19 tests done. But it meant to drive back and forth to the City of Hope, which is a little bit more than 2 hours drive time. Lots of time to think about stuff, as we've talked about before, windshield time. One of the things I thought about was that we all have some idea of what we're going to do once things return to some semblance of normal, whatever that means, depending on where you are in the country, depending upon, whether the stay-at-home, safe at home protocols are voluntary or whether they've been ordered. And if you're a businessman, if you're a business owner, business person, that means devoting a lot of thought to what you're going to do and whether or not you're going to have the opportunity to do something different. Now, one of the things we noticed when we were driving out to the City of Hope today is the amount of road work that's being done on the freeways on the way to and from Duarte, from where we live. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, if you think about it, the crews, Caltrans, are doing as much work as they can right now because the traffic on the freeway is a fraction of what it normally is. And they have the opportunity to work in a much safer environment and get a lot more done faster. And they had the forethought, whoever was thinking about this was really smart enough to recognize that this was an opportunity. Well, it's an opportunity for all of us, recognizing that at some point in time, things are going to go back to some semblance of normal. And we all have options as to how we're going to approach life and living once that happens. And it seems a shame that if we waste that opportunity and we're not prepared. But one of the things that we're all guilty of to some degree, I'd be willing to bet, is that we all have a preconceived notion of what that future is going to look like. There are people out there that believe with a perfect faith that it's going to go right back to where it was. It's going to be like a rubber band. You're going to pull it out, stretch it as far as it'll go without breaking. You're going to let go of it, and it'll be exactly the same size or shape that it was when you started. That's possible. It may take a while. Could be better. Ultimately, things could get better. But the question isn't that. The question is really, what do you do if things don't return to some semblance of normal? What do you do if the normal things return to looks a whole lot different from what it was? And more importantly, how sad it would be if you had the opportunity to change things for the better. If you had the opportunity to change things so that they look better, to change the way that you react or act in that future, and therefore, change that future itself and change the outcomes, it would be really sad. So, I mean, it's reasonable to think that you have a plan when things return to normal, for when things return to normal. And it may even be that you have a plan B if things don't return to the normal you think they will. And the question is whether you should have a plan C. Because there is a certain amount of tyranny in that unknown future that we keep talking about. And I think it's important, especially for those of us who are still working, those of you who may be business owners or aspire to own a business. Now's the time to figure out what you'd change if you could. If you could just wave a magic wand and have your business magically reappear as something else. Now, I've said for years, maybe decades, that if there's any industry that really is in dire need of being reimagined, it's automotive service. So don't be surprised if over the next couple of weeks or months even, we spend a little time talking about that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and rest up from that drive back and forth, although I will tell you it is a delight without traffic. In the meantime, stay well, stay safe, stay focused, and take care.